MiHoYo releases update details for every new patch, but let's be real, nobody reads them. The first half is all important stuff that we already know from previous announcements, and the second half is small details that a majority of players won't even notice. But in 1.3, one small, seemingly insignificant change has made waves within the Genshin Impact community. And no, it's not Kai's new idle animation. It's this, audio change number 6, amends audio files for some of Barbara's voiceover lines during combat and on her character profile screen. They even decided to make this text orange, when colored text is typically only used to highlight really important details. So here's a comparison between before and after. Just to note, although the update details don't specify it, it seems like this change was only applied to the English version of Barbara.
I'll protect us! I'll protect us! Let's dance! Let's dance! Let the show begin! Let the show begin!
If you want to see the whole thing, I'll link it in the description, but you get the idea. Although the lines themselves are the same and are done by the same voice actress, the tone is completely different. It's pretty clear that this change is almost universally disliked by the community. Some actually prefer the new voice, but that opinion is much less common. So what exactly happened? Well, we were able to get a little bit of insight on it thanks to the Twitch streams of the game's English voice director, Chris Fiala, who goes by Mr. Burgle on Twitch. Thank you to JCD on Twitter for giving the timestamps and VOD.
New combat voices? Yeah, I was saying that, well, as I was mentioning before, we kind of, we played around with different voices for Barbara, and so I think a couple of the, I just think some of the files got mixed up originally, and they finally got around to getting the ones we intended to use in there, is my guess. She does sound a little more gentle.
Got you right here.
No, what happened was there was when we played around with the voices and stuff, we took a bunch of different takes, basically, and played with the voice, and we basically found the voice, and when you find the voice, you try a bunch of different things and settle eventually on one that you like. Yeah. So we basically found the voice, and what happens is, there are all these file names and file IDs when we record stuff, and I think one of them got the file IDs just got a little wonky when we were importing them. So oh boy, I missed it. So basically, long story short, is the wrong file IDs were put into the game originally, and it's just now that we're finally getting around to changing them. So it's not that we weren't happy with it, we were. It just took an extra minute to get it in the game. Mr. Burgle, so they used our own voice lines in the game and just said now that the ones. So yeah, it wasn't necessary. So yes, the basic answer is yes. That's what happened. I wouldn't call them necessarily. I mean, they were the wrong ones because, like I said, we had a lot of different takes for a lot of the different lines, especially at the beginning, and those ones got accidentally put into the game, and we're updating it at the moment.
Yeah,
but it's not wrong in the sense that, like, we were unhappy with stuff. It was just the process of finding a character voice in the recording studio and stuff takes a minute. And you usually get a lot of stuff in the process.
It's always standard to do multiple takes.
Yeah, and also, that's what patches are for, you know what I mean?
So to sum up what he said, in the recording studio, they did multiple takes to find what kind of voice they wanted to use for Barbara. So both sets of voice lines were probably done a really long time ago. Something happened during the implementation process, and the voice lines that ended up being used before 1.3 were actually the wrong ones. The new voice lines embody the original intention for the direction of Barbara's character. If you compare the new voice lines to the Barbara animation, you can tell that they are much closer.
Hi there, traveler. I'll protect us.
This poses a really tough situation because there's a clear divide in the preferences between the player base and the developers. I am confident that they are already aware of the community's opinion. This situation can end in one of two ways. If MiHoYo goes back and reverts to the old voice lines, then it means they are straying away from their creative vision. And on the other hand, if they keep the new voice lines, players will continue to complain about it. You can't even ask which voice suits the character better, because honestly, they both fit pretty well. The old, more energetic voice lines embodies the idea of a cheerful idol who wants to heal you and raise your spirits. Meanwhile, the new, more reserved voice reflects her gentle and caring nature. I really do think that both of these voices are good interpretations of the character, so I'm curious as to what MiHoYo will decide to do. Personally though, I think they're going to stay silent on social media for a little while as they wait to see if the reception changes at all. But I implore all of you to actually objectively evaluate the new voice for yourself rather than just hopping on the hate bandwagon. Like I said, I would be okay with either voice, but I've seen this exact situation before. In 2017, Counter-Strike Global Offensive got updates that drastically changed the sounds the guns made when firing. Up to this point, the game had been out for 5 years, so of course players were very used to the old sounds. Despite the purpose of the changes being to improve quality and decrease ear fatigue and distortion, a lot of the community expressed their distaste, demanding it to be reverted. But Valve held their ground, and since then, most people have concluded that the new sounds are much better than the old ones. While there obviously will be people who are die-hard fans of Barbara's old voice, I think some people need to be a bit more willing to warm up to the new voice, especially if MiHoYo decides not to change it back. And this should go without saying, but don't harass the voice director, the voice actress, or anyone over this situation. The The issue will eventually be resolved in one way or another, so until then, all we can do is respectfully voice our opinions and wait. That's all I have to say. Let me know what you think in the comments, and thank you for watching.